necessity for today's notes because we will begin our webinar shortly. Thank you for your patience. Doctor, you look great today, as usual.
Thank you very much. It's quite rare I'll be having a morning sessions, but perhaps starting today, we shall be having a morning session instead of on the afternoon on the Fridays. So this is a new beginning to all of us. Thank you very much.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning to all the participants and also our distinguished guest speaker for today. Welcome to today's workshop, which is one of the topic of conceptual paper publication. First of all, we would like to thank everyone for participating in this international webinar and to the speaker for making his time out during this morning to give us a talk in this workshop. But before we begin, on behalf of the organizer, I would like to remind all participants to make sure your mics are muted, especially when the speaker is presenting. And if you have any questions, do leave them in the chat box and we might have a Q&A session later on. So this is the final of the second free webinar series organized by the Office of International Affairs, OIA, Division of Academic Affairs, UITM Cawangan, Melaka, co-organized with Center of Islamic, Philanthropy and Social Finances, CIPSF, UITM Cawangan, Melaka, in collaboration with our international strategic partner, Universitas Negeri Semarang, Indonesia. As I mentioned before, this is our final workshop for this second free webinar series. And Alhamdulillah, we have followers from not only UITM, but from different campuses all over Malaysia. Thank you for following us throughout this whole journey. We hope that all of us can learn and absorb the knowledge that we come across and implement it in our daily life. Before we move on, I would like to tell the audience that at the end of today's session, we'll be having a photo session. So I would advise all of you to prepare by, if you are wearing a hijab, prepare yourself with that and open your camera when the time comes. Without further, let me introduce you to our speaker today. Our speaker is UITM's very own alumni. Our speaker graduated with a bachelor degree and PhD in mechanical engineering in 2011 and 2015 respectively. Please welcome the man, the myth, the legend, the swag, Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Izzat Nur Ma'ruf from UITM Cawangan, Melaka. Please, Doctor, the stage is yours.
Yes, Assalamualaikum, very good morning to everyone. Is my audio clear? Again, let's just check one more time, just in case. Is my audio clear?
Yes, your audio is very clear.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, Mr. Nick. Thank you very much. So today, we're going to have quite some fun in regards to our webinar today. The title of our webinar today, of course, as we have noted earlier, will be on conceptual paper writing. So at the middle section of this particular webinar, most likely around 11 or so, yes, we shall have an interactive session. It means that why don't we perform literature review or the very basis of conceptual paper writing live? Meaning you can share your own respective title in a way that we can propose a number of papers which are possible just based on your title, as well as if you would like to share your own respective literature in collection. All right, so that will be for later. So let me share my screen, therefore my respective slide. Mr. Moderator, could you please check whether it is full screen or it is not? All right. If it is, please inform me. I will not be able to view the Webex.
It is full screen, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, Mr.
You're
Nick.
welcome.
FYI, perhaps I should and might as well be checking upon the attendee, perhaps requesting your point of view. Okay, so I'll be on and off perhaps in the sharing session, or i.e. in the full screen or non full screen. All right. So this is our workshop outline for today. We shall start with the prologue, and then we will go towards the introduction to conceptual paper, and then we will talk about the rejection of publications, next on literature review techniques, and finally, as I have noted earlier, in regards to the interactive session, then of course we shall have it close. This is the learning outcome for today. All right, at the end of this particular session, the audience, the students, should have the good graphs or a basic understanding on the very foundation on conceptual paper writing. It means that upon the completion, now you are able to start your own writing, which will be on the third learning outcome. Upon understanding the foundation, you have the idea, you have a good grasp on the fundamental, then you can proceed to prepare your very own conceptual papers. But first, we need to know or to understand what is actually a conceptual paper, which will be covered in the first learning outcome. Secondly, in regards to rejections of publication, this is a very common question addressed to me in regards to the publication of conceptual papers. All right, because I was noted. There's a speaker on and off. Mr. Nick, could you please check? Because the audio is in my ear. Could you please check someone else's mic is open as well? Could you please check? Thank you very much. We need to first identify as well the factors that could lead towards the failure and the success of conceptual paper publications. And finally, the learning outcome, you will become a better academician and researcher than myself. That is the utmost an outcome for today, of which that you will be surpassing me in regards to your own competency. Right. So the objectives for today, first and foremost, we would like to simplify the overall understanding of conceptual paper publications. I've read a few references or sources online in regards to the definition, the description of conceptual paper, and it's quite lengthy. I found several from several journals as well as from web pages, but nonetheless, let us simplify that to make it easier to understand. Instead of all the bits and bits, all those bells and whistles, let us simplify the very essence of conceptual paper definition, and then we are able to actually have it published. Secondly, we shall focus on the improvement of the very basis of literature review, which will be detailed later. And perhaps later on, there's a please take notes. Sure. Okay, thank you very much. I thought there was a notes for myself. Let us demonstrate literature review. Instead of just me showing some prepared slides, okay, let us have it live. Let us do it together. So as I have noted earlier, why don't you share your literature collection, maybe just one or two from yourself and then from other respondents. Hopefully we have the time, and we have the time, around 1 hour or so. Let us do it live. It means that it can be done on the spot, in situ, without much issue. It is possible. I do not wish to take from my own collection and then just show it. It means that it is prepared. Let's have it raw. Let's have it live. Then it can truly showcase that, yeah, it is possible. Because if I just bring out some of my example that it is pre-prepared, it is expected, why don't we just use your own literature? Let us do that together. At least it can facilitate your journey as of right now. And finally, to propose possible conceptual paper publications based on your respective master's or PhD topics or titles. Yes, indeed, just based on your title, not to mention your abstract. Yeah, at least a few papers is right there, just from the title. Abstract, not to mention, at least 4, just from the abstract. And if you want to push further, definitely we can get a higher number of papers. The quantity is there. It is a matter of will you able to recognize the potential in your respective studies and to truly implement what you have learned either previously or in our webinar today, right? So let us start officially. Mr. Nick, Mr. Moderator, the corpus needs you to find the difference between the model of this superbike and this superbike. What's the difference? Let us check as well from the attendee. Let us check. Mr. Ismat Zakaria. Since that your camera is on, could you recognize the model of these particular motorcycles? What's the difference? What's the difference? What's the difference?
Oh, actually, I'm not sure what I'm not expert on motorcycle, but I think the brand is different.
All right. Okay. Let us check others.
Ducati and what's that one? I'm not sure.
All right. So let us. This is a random sampling or random victimizing the attendance today. All right. Let's check. Who's the next contender? Miss Yusnita. Any difference? What
Our
difference?
next victim.
Can you tell the difference between this model, Miss Yusnita? What's the difference? You can use a mic, perhaps.
Yes, your mic is very clear. I am not sure about the audience though.
Miss Aini Osman. What's the difference? Your name remind me of my office mate. I'm not sure if she is the one or if she's not. Just in case. What's the difference between these two models? Per se. Miss One Council, any words from you? If the corporate management would like for you to find the differences between these two models, what are the differences? All right, finally, maybe we can check with Mr. Nick, the moderator. What's the difference, Mr. Nick?
Maybe the tires, both of them look different on each models.
All right,
the colors
all right.
maybe. The colors.
Okay.
The colors too.
Okay. Thank you very much for your respective answers. Actually, all right, say both are from the very basis of the Ducati Panigale 1199. They are the same model. The only difference is one is made for road usage, the other for off-road. That is the best analogy that I could think of, at least from my humble point of view, in regards to SNT and social science. Okay, your research, your respective research, either you are from engineering, either you are from business, you are from law, from academics, or education, it does not matter. The foundation of research is the same. You can go for the road, you can go for the track, you can go for off-road for that matter, but still both are motorcycles. The engine are the same, the design is the same, it's just on the little bits. This is applicable for your respective research. Okay? The very foundation, that's the reason why for this particular workshop, it does not go into specific. It is not an issue if you are from SNT or if you are not from SNT. You are from social science. Good. Nothing wrong with that. The differences may be on the little details on how you present the idea, how you conducted the research, so on and so forth. However, the very foundation is the same. Therefore, in regards to this particular workshop, Remember, upon the completion of this workshop, you still need to tailor-make the information in accordance to your field. Okay, the basic execution is the same. How to do it is the same. But the refinement to make it in accordance to the need of your respective program, your respective research approaches, either quantitative, qualitative, or even mixed mode, that is up to you. Okay, the tool is provided to you. The tool is today. The tool is how to perform conceptual papers. Okay, however, you are still required, you are still warranted to have it tailored in accordance to your need. Okay, in accordance to the niche of your study. Okay, so the aim of this workshop is to give a general outlook. It means that it can be implemented by a social science student. It can be implemented by SNT students. Does not matter. That is the essence of this particular workshop. Okay, so there's no issue. I'm from engineering. Okay, there's no issue. The example is on motorcycle. The basis, the way to perform, or the way to write a conceptual paper, or papers for that matter, if you're interested to publish more, is the same, right? Hence, let us first go to the prologue. This is one of the most common situation, per se, experienced by any given undergraduate and most importantly, postgraduate students facing rejections. Okay, so this is a very common predicament, a very generic, we can say, situation that might be faced. You may or may not have experienced any of this. Okay, some of you guys might have a good flow, means that everything without too much obstacle, good for you. Okay, that's very good. I'm very happy to hear if you could complete your postgraduate or even undergraduate for that matter without much obstacle. Alhamdulillah, good for you. But let's say that if you do, for example, in regards to registration, scholarship, publication, defense for that matter, and at the end, viva, and perhaps from the interpersonal matter or intrapersonal matter. These are commonly faced by respective students. So is it an issue? Perhaps. However, if you do face this particular predicament, if you do face statements such as this one, so let me translate it for you in case that you are not the native speaker for English, for Malay, all right? The first one was noted to myself, okay? You are not able to do maths, you are not able to do bio, so should you be doing language in your university? Should you pursue language instead? That was the response I had gotten on the day before my biology paper. That was the question addressed to me. I was 18 back then. Second one, do you think PhD is easy? Some people pursue it for 10 years and they got nothing. These are another sample of rejection I've attained as well. And the third one, PhD is only for couples, for married people, not for single guys or single ladies. Why? Because you are not mature enough. That's what they said. And finally, this was I've gotten in one of my sessions. Your PhD title is just for the poor people. True. So whatever that you have experienced or will be experienced is, you are not alone. Whatever that you are facing, might be facing, you are not the only one experiencing it. Hence, it is okay. It is okay to feel bad. It is okay to feel sad. It is okay to feel anguish, to feel despair. It does not illustrate weakness. You are just being human. Some will not root for you. That is the reality. They might just love to see you fail. That is the truth. They want to see you fail. These are the environment for any given postgraduate, especially, and for even undergraduate. Hence, it is all right. Whatever that you're feeling inside, whatever that your emotion tells you, don't deny it. It is okay. It is okay to feel sad, to feel anger. But what is not okay is to let it pass and have it powers over. We need to strive. We need to fight for our own respective PhD. All of these external factors, they are there for a reason. It makes you tougher. So it is up to us to march forward regardless. Because at the end of the day, this is your PhD. At the very least, do it for yourself. Okay? And by fighting for each, every single inch, every single page, every single word in your PhD is worth it. And at the end of the day, that is how it is fun. So remember that your journey, whatever that you experience, whatever that you might be, will be, it is all right. It is okay to feel bad, but we need to stand up. We need to still march forward regardless of whatever that we might be facing or will be facing. Do it for yourself at the very least. But nonetheless, if it's for me, that is what we want. That is the fun part. If it comes easy, it's not worth it. Everyone will have it. So be brave, be fearless, be fierce on yourself to face your PhD journey. Right? So now let us go to the introduction on conceptual papers. Okay, so before that we begin, before we go deeper, so let us check from the audience. Miss Abida, what is your current state of understanding in regards to conceptual papers? You can use the mic or you can use the text. What is your current state of understanding? What is the thing that you have in mind when someone noted, oh, let's write conceptual papers. Oh, why don't you write this sort of paper? What did you have in mind when someone said that as of this moment? Miss Abida. Any words from you? Any kind words from you? Whatever.
Maybe she's typing. You want to wait for her?
Yeah, I shall wait. And in the meantime, while we are waiting, all right, let us check whether Hiya, Faris. I see that you are here.
Yes, doctor. How are you? Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Before you go for your camping this weekend, what is your current point of view? What is your current state of understanding on?
All right. Even the words itself, it is for sure focusing on the understanding of to have the any basic ideas or any unproved evidence of work of research that did not being delivered yet, and also it is required for us to report any of the basically it is our own ideas to be delivered to others to make the research I must say the ignition of the ideas of the research. That's why we are having conceptual paper there. Dr. Izzat.
All right, thank you very much, Hi Faris. Have she provided the answer, Mr. Nick? At least you have.
No, not yet.
All right, never mind. So maybe one more person that we could randomly select. Okay. Siti, apa dia? Siti, Madam Munawara, apa dia? Conceptual papers, apa yang kita faham? Any words? Text nanti, mereka tak reply nanti text nanti. Any point of view in regards to the conceptual papers? Any words from you, madam? Oh, tak reply Steve. Never mind. Miss Rachel, maybe before we end the Q&A for the time being. Miss Rachel, any state of understanding on conceptual papers? What do you have in mind when someone tells you, oh, let's write conceptual papers?
My understanding so far is just about proposing new relationships among dimensions. So
All right, so that is very technical answer. So that is very good. So as of right now, the answers provided by our kind Faris and Miss Rachel, one is about idea, presenting idea, and second is the connection. Yes, indeed, both are absolutely correct. It's about presenting your own idea and have it connected with the other current literature, with existing studies. So these are the detailed description on the criteria of a non-empirical, empirical, and finally theoretical. So our conceptual paper is the non-empirical. What does it mean? Okay, what does it mean? This is a simplified definition. You can find the definition in detail in the respective sources, but nonetheless, this is the essence of the definition. Okay, empirical studies is empirical studies. It doesn't have any synonym. Okay, we just call it empirical studies. Non-empirical studies is also known as a literature review article. Okay, empirical studies, there's no other name. It's just that. Okay, so empirical studies definitely is a strong quantitative paper. Okay, it could be some element of qualitative, sure, but it is strongly quantitative. So I just have it noted here as quantitative. Okay, non-empirical could be either one, could be both, and or qualitative and or quantitative. Okay, theoretical depends. Dependent on the theory. Why? Because the source of these particular publications are indeed different. Okay, empirical studies is our own paper. It's the paper that we publish from our own, very own respective experiment, observation, or even simulation. Okay, that's our own paper. Empirical study is our own. Non-empirical and theoretical, we are reviewing someone else's work. It means that we initiate the paper by taking from the pool of knowledge. Okay, so the aim of these respective publications, obviously empirical study, is to test. Okay, we have a set of hypotheses, for instances, and we would like to have it tested. Non-empirical, we would like to review studies. Make it sure, okay, please make sure that it is not reviewing theories. Theories are different. Theories, for example, the theory of not motion sickness, okay, the theory of motion, okay, and for example that, and then the other theory. There's a lot. We don't have the luxury of time to go into detail, but it is a well-established theories. It is noted. Okay, even the word theory will be there. Okay, theory of relativity, for example. That is a theory. That is not a study. It's a theory. Okay, so studies of others, empirical studies of others per se, is review. That is not empirical. So the objective of empirical study is to provide evidence. Okay, and the objective of non-empirical together with theoretical, which is identical, is what Ms. Rachel noted, to show connection between the knowledge, and perhaps by showing this connection, we can identify, hence we can suggest possible gaps and possible future research. Therefore, we can say that non-empirical studies and theoretical studies is the initial step before our empirical studies. So before we proceed with our own studies, we propose, oh, this is a possibility for this one. We suggest, why don't let's study for that one? That is future research. Therefore, for empirical studies, definitely data is available and collected. Confirm, because your own study, you would like to provide evidence, you would like to test something. Definitely there will be data, regardless if it's from experiment, from survey study, from statistics. Yes, that is data. Non-empirical or theoretical, in general, by default, without any data collection. Because Any data question? That's already something else. If you wish to showcase your preliminary data, that is not conceptual papers. So it's different. If your title is conceptual papers, but you provide data, that's confusing. So make sure that we do not provide any sort of confusion to the readers. Okay. Hence, method definitely will be available for empirical study with respect to data being analyzed. No data being analyzed for non-empirical study, confirmed, but for theoretical, maybe. Because if it involves some theory, for example, most likely there might be some data to be interpreted from other studies, from the theory. Okay. Finally, the output for these publications for empirical study, upon the testing, upon proving or providing the evidences, we shall provide a conclusion. Oh, so this happened because of that happened, so it is related. Okay, we conclude. Okay, this thing only happened because of this thing. Okay, we conclude. Okay, non-empirical study, the output will be conceptual framework. So this is the major difference now. Okay, non-empirical study, the output will be conceptual framework. Theoretical research, theoretical paper shall be providing theoretical framework as the output. Can it be both? Maybe. Up to you. It's your research. Because as I have noted early on, at the end of the day, it will be totally dependent on your respective field. The example which I'll provide today is from the same study, but provided or possible can be provided for both conceptual framework and theoretical framework. It means that it is somewhere in the middle. The empirical study utilizes both aspects. We can as well. So do not, in a way, set ourselves apart. Okay, oh, I don't want to use this, I don't want to use that. Think wisely, because all of these publications, all of these methods are tool for your respective studies to facilitate and accelerate your PhD. Without using all the tools, that's the reason why some individuals might find it lengthy to complete the study, because they are not using everything. So it's at the end of the day, it is a matter of how good you are in utilizing what you know, quality knowledge, right? So this is the summary. Conceptual paper is a non-empirical publication. Okay? The conceptual paper most likely is your literature review. That is your chapter 2 in your thesis. In certain university, from what I've heard, okay, in the overseas, once you submitted or once you publish, all right, so I'm not sure what it is. Okay, this will reserve for a while. Once you publish your conceptual papers, you don't have to show your teacher review. It's already proven. Your conceptual paper is your chapter 2. Okay, the output of conceptual paper, as I have noted, is the conceptual framework. The purpose or the goal for this conceptual framework is to highlight on the research gaps from existing literature. So from the pool of knowledge, we have several literature that you might want to select, and then you showcase the gaps. Okay, these research gaps creates the need for further exploration. Okay, now we can study this area because this particular area might be minimally investigated, or there are opportunity for improvement. True. Specific exploration. This is PhD level. Okay, a very specific exploration from the gap. Okay, there could be a lot of gaps. Maybe. Depends on the field, depends on the niche. Okay, or there's just one gap, perhaps. You never know. Okay. However, regardless if it is one or several research gaps, a specific exploration will be in the problem statement. This is the common feedback for PhD student. Your problem statement is not specific. Very common. Or secondly, your project is too ambitious. Second example of feedback. What does it mean? It means that it is not specific. That's it. PhD needs to be highly specific. Hands down. No more argument about it. Okay? You can explore a whole lot of stuff. For example, why my motorcycle is not starting this morning? Why motorcycle does not start in the morning, and particular this morning? Why? So there are several reasons that could contribute towards that. Okay, a lot. For example, the battery is really dry. Okay, it is no longer having enough power to start the engine. Okay, before the ignition. One. Okay, maybe there's a faulty wiring. Maybe there are other mechanical problems. Okay, so there's a lot of possibilities. Confirm. It could be the rectifier. It could be the solenoid. It could be anything. It could not even be your bike. Someone else's bike. You start your own someone else's bike. Maybe. You never know. So, a specific study for PhD is just one thing and one thing only. So, it is focusing on the not amplifier, the rectifier. Why is it amplifier? It's rectifier. Okay. So, the rectifier is faulty. Happened to my Kawasaki previously. So I actually spent 1,000 to change the wiring for absolutely nothing. Just imagine I got ripped off by the mechanic. Okay, back then I was 2012. It was 10 years ago. I'm still pissed about it till to this day. It was a rectifier, just $5. I spent like 1,000 for the wiring. So IFRS, make sure if you purchase a new motorcycle, make sure it's new. Buy new. IFRS, buy new. Let's go together this week, perhaps. Okay. So a very specific problem. Okay. The problem statement shall lead to the study and eventually for the output. When the output fill the research gap, that is the novelty. That's how we know. That's how we prove it. Okay. Because a common question as well as feedback, how can we be sure that this is a PhD? How you know your study is a PhD? A very critical, a very dangerous question. If you cannot prove it, you just spend 3 years at least for absolutely nothing. So we need to ensure, you need to ensure that you show the gap is being filled. That is how we distinguish a PhD from master. Master is not, there's no need for novelty. Okay. Continuation of study, further exploration without adding something new, that is master. PhD, that it is an absolute must to provide novelty. Okay. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, this is the flow from the pool of knowledge. Okay, we have some selected literature. We review said literature, and from this literature review, we can produce conceptual papers. Plural papers. It could be one, it could be two. Depends on your field, depends on your need. Okay, and from each paper, you can come up with one conceptual framework. In that particular framework, we can highlight on the respective research gaps. And then we have it related, connected, as noted by Ms. Rachel, have it connected with the problem statement. And then we have it further forward into the output. When the output complement the research gap, that is novelty. Confirm. As simple as that. Okay, but it takes time. It takes rigor to actually produce an output which is filling the gap. So a rigor part is confirmed. Rigor is in regards to the data collection, it's in regard to the analysis, it's in regard to the validation of the output. Without that, your output is just an output. We need to have rigor as well. R-I-G-O-U-R. Okay, rigor. I'm not pronouncing it correct, but rigor. Okay, it means that extensive amount of work is being made. Okay, in order to have it justified. Then it is a PhD. Master, you did no problem, but PhD student, yes. Okay, how you know this is this? How you prove it? Remember, even the data collection it is to be validated. Okay. Oh, I collect data. Okay, have you validated the data collected? Simple question. How do you know the data you collected is correct? How you know the method of your collection is correct? So we need to refer standard. We need to have benchmark. We need to refer the literature. Simple question. Okay, but it is a killer question during any defense or anybody. Hey, how you know that your data is correct? Something like that. Confirm. And actually, my favorite question, even for myself, even for FIT. How you know? How you know? Simple. Okay. So publishing conceptual papers has its own advantages and disadvantages. Okay. Is it compulsory? Depends on yourself, depends on your program, depends on your supervisor as well. Maybe he doesn't care, perhaps. But as a student, I would highly recommend that you publish at least one in your lifetime. Okay, as a postgraduate, at least once publish in conceptual paper. Why? Because when you go for your, at the very least, defense proposal, how you ensure the necessity of your study. Why you study this? That's the question. So if you have your conceptual paper ready, you already have it published, you already presented it. Okay, at best present in a conference. Why conference? Okay, because we receive direct feedback. Okay, if you send for a journal, of course you receive feedback, but it takes time. Okay, for immediate response, immediate feedback from a wide range of audience, conference is the best place, or colloquial. Okay, so if you said to the panel, oh, I have presented this idea in a conceptual paper at a conference, done. I did that during my viva. Hey, how you know this thing? Oh, I presented this in Southampton, and it was accepted by the experts. So, okay, done. A 10-day trip, okay, and a few months of work just for a 5 minutes or less conversation. That is the price of the conceptual paper. If you don't have it, fine, no problem. But if you are able to answer that question, why do we need to do this? Why you study this study? Why do you study this PhD? If you can do it, good for you. But if you have the evidence of a conceptual paper which has been peer reviewed, okay, accepted by experts, okay, presented in an international journal or even national, doesn't matter, or even colloquium among the lecturers, okay, done. If it is not being conducted, it is questionable. How you know? How you know that we need to do this? It's irritating if you're being addressed that question, true. But it's a legit question. As much as it is irritating, it is a legit question. It's a spot question. Okay. So the advantage is as well as noted, it is with your own study, but at the same time, this could be a disadvantage as well. When it is specific to your own, it might not affect other people. So the acceptance and the rejection is related to this. If it is truly your own work, okay, the scope is very legit, very narrow. Some conference or some publishers, it might not be complementing to their theme, hence rejected. That's why. Nothing wrong with your work. It's just that it's not related to their theme. All right. So it is okay if it is rejected. Don't be disheartened. Okay, everyone got rejected once in a while. Sure. Okay. So find another publisher. Find another conference. It's just that they cannot just publish whatever. It has to be related or complementing their respective theme. If your study, your theme is not related to their theme, of course they cannot have it accepted. Not their fault. Why you send it to them? Send somewhere else. If you just found out later, it's okay. No, I got rejected. Why you do that to yourself? Okay, things happen. The rejection is not of bad intention. It's just on technicalities. It's okay. All right. Find somewhere else. Move on. Accept the error. Find somewhere else. Just a matter of time. Okay. This will be your foundation of research as well. However, when it is foundation of your research, yeah, it is subjective. Other people, other reviewer, if they are in good intention, of course, they can give good feedback or they can give good reviews. If they have the notion of, oh, this area is not good, I don't like this thing. Okay, yeah, if they can give that kind of point of view. True. Okay. Another advantage, as I have noted earlier, you can highlight on the need of your respective study. This is the gap. This is why I do it. Okay. And again, it might not be applicable for others. That's the issue. So we have to chew, we have to digest this advantage, whether we like it or not. But still, it is highly recommended because at the end of the day, your conceptual papers could be the one thing that strengthen the novelty of your PhD. Not other PhD, your own PhD. So just worry about yourself. Don't worry about other people. Okay, just focus on yourself first. Okay, do what you need to do. Perform what you need to execute. Okay, so these are the advantages and disadvantages of a conceptual paper publication. Okay, it is not compulsory, but it is indeed highly recommended. Maybe compulsory for you, just double check. But from my own humble point of view, it is highly recommended. Okay. So any question as of this moment? Any questions so far from the fellow audience? Mr. Nick, do you have any question?
No, so far no questions.
All right, thank you very much. So as we have noted earlier, the output of a conceptual paper is the conceptual framework. Conceptual. Okay, conceptual paper shall result in conceptual framework. This is with this definition as what we have noted from IFRS and Ms. Rachel. Thank you very much. This is the basic idea of a conceptual papers. Conceptual papers results in conceptual framework. It showcases the state of knowledge. It interlinks the knowledge, and when we do that, we showcase the gaps. Okay. At the same time, we might as well be highlighting or outlining the methodological underpinnings. Okay. So here is an example of a conceptual framework. Meaning, all of this information is gotten from literature. From the literature, motorcycling. This is from my PhD, but still I just did this diagram last night. Okay, so motorcycling, of course, there is a 3-level interaction between the human, motorcycle, and the environment. So when a human interact with a motorcycle, it is what we call a workstation. Okay, so ergonomics workstation. So human plus motorcycle equals to ergonomics workstation. So when a human being seated on a motorcycle, they were because this was previously 3 research gaps were found. Okay. One thing, when we study on motorcycle, there are various classification system for motorcycle. We have from, let's say, the model. From earlier, remember the Panigali and stuff? From model. And then from the displacement, one thing. And then from the license. There's a lot. But none for ergonomics. So this is gaps found. Okay. Secondly, being seated on a motorcycle, there's a lot of ways to sit on a motorcycle. Have you seen the Mak Rempit and stuff? The Superman and stuff? Yeah. A whole lot of riding posture on a motorcycle. So if we want to perform a research, we need to have a standardized system. And of course, there are various stages of interaction between human and motorcycle. Okay, first we sit on it, we are not moving, and then only then we start moving. So there are various stages of interaction. Hence, for the purpose of a scientific studies, a certain rules have to be made. Therefore, these are the research gaps. So this is an example of conceptual paper from my first paper. Okay, conceptual framework from my first conceptual paper. That's it. I did it when I was Sem 1 master. Okay, so this is a theoretical framework, not from study, but from a theory. Human motorcycle interaction theory by Statement 2010. This is a theoretical framework, different than conceptual framework. Conceptual is from literature, theoretical is from existing theory. So choose one, choose several, up to you, depending on your study. Oh, I can do this. For instances, for any given social science PhD, you can take existing theory or existing model. Let's just take existing theory, or from several theories, you combine it, you can have or you can establish not new theory, okay, that takes time, okay, but for PhD scope, an extended model, an addition to the existing model. Just like that. That is social science. Of course, it's much more complicated as it may sound, but in the term of execution, but that is an example of a social science PhD. You take from existing theory, you test it in a particular environment, okay, it is not enough, you say. So in order for this to be successful, especially in today's age, so at least from my own personal point of view, in regards to social science, even for engineering, the pandemic has changed a whole lot. The world that we are living today is totally different than 2 years ago. Okay? Therefore, a whole lot of opportunity to test existing theory on the effectiveness. Is it working today? Previously, there's no online class like 24/7. Not all classes, maybe just a few. But now, until, at least for my university, it's until end of September, end of this semester. Okay, so everything's changed. A new theory could be made, or we can extend from existing theory. Developing a new theory, okay, that's ambitious. True. Maybe not for a PhD alone. Okay, means that maybe several PhD students come up with one theory, maybe. But from existing theory, yeah, sure, you can add on to it. That is the novelty. Oh, when we used this theory previously, back in 2015, oh, okay, it works. But today, in the new environment, post-COVID-19 pandemic, for instances, this theory has its own weaknesses. We need additional components to improve it. That is your PhD. That is on social science. It may sound simple, but yeah, the process takes time. The rigor part to prove it. Okay, to showcase the hypothesis actually works. Okay, so you need to have this, have that. But that is the concept. Okay, from existing theory, can it be implemented today? Yes or no? Perhaps, maybe. But then to make it better, oh, I add one more thing. Done. That's your PhD. Like the 5 minutes conversation. That is your PhD. So that's the reason why PhD is fun. It is not that difficult. It is interesting. The struggle is in the doing, because it takes a whole lot of documentation and evidence as well as validation. True. But without that, what's the fun in it? Isn't it? It's just, done. Won't be great. You won't be remembering it. So the struggle is the journey, is the excitement. Okay, have that in mind so that you can enjoy your journey, because it is not 1 week trip. Okay, it's like at least 3 years for some. Okay, so feel free to contact me for that later on. So rejection of publication. Okay, there's a whole lot of reasons. So I've been searching online why a paper could be rejected. Okay, so in my investigation, okay, in my humble investigation, I found 24 reasons. Okay, okay, fine. This is from one single, and then I add some. Okay, so 24 reasons why your paper could be rejected, and this is specific for conceptual papers only. This is just for conceptual papers. Okay, so if we write or we prepare conceptual papers, we have 24 reasons to be rejected in general. These are the list. You can read on your own. Oh, FYI, these slides will be provided to you later, so don't be trouble, don't be trouble. Yeah, I can give the slide for you for free, no problem. No payment whatsoever, okay? This slide will be made available by the organizer, or you can contact me later personally. Okay, So 24 reasons why one conceptual papers could be rejected in 24 ways. However, it can be simplified to 5 things. Okay, the scope or the area of focus, as noted, it is subjective. Okay, maybe your theme is not related to the theme, so the scope is different, hence rejected. Okay, presentation of said work, perhaps in regards to the formatting, in regards to the language, technicalities, definitely can be improved. Subpar review. Okay, this is in regards to the literature review technique. Okay, if you are able to, or you are providing inadequate review, okay, because literature review is a specific interview, which we cover later. In case you did not attend the chapter 2 webinar, yes, we will cover it just a bit, okay, just to at least to the very least to refresh your memory. The technique on literature review. What is that or without output? Meaning you do not provide the conceptual framework, or the output from the review is not critically highlighted, hence rejected. Okay, my suggestion perhaps will be shown later. Poor response to criticism. Okay, so you have sent your paper, the review came in. Oh, here poor, the amount of work poor, later to this poor. Yes, it could be disheartening. True. Feel bad. Yes, absolutely right. And nothing wrong with it. You feel bad, okay, attaining such feedback, it is okay. Okay, get that in mind. It is okay if someone tells you you are not good. It's okay. But what is not okay to stay that way? If someone tells, the easiest way to put it, someone say you are stupid. Izzat, you are stupid. Okay, so at least I know. Okay, at least you know, hence you can improve. Staying that way is not right. I cannot emphasize how many times someone said that to me. You are that, you are this. True. Okay, that is their point of view. So we accept it and then we do something about it, not to them, but to ourselves. In a positive way, of course. Okay. Someone said that you are not enough. So the question is how, not why. That is the feedback from my supervisor. Izzat, this is not enough. Okay, how? How to make it better? Not why, Prof. Why is it not enough? It doesn't matter why. It's a matter of how. Okay. Your literature review is not enough. Okay. Your literature review is not good. Okay. How to make it better? That is the question. Not why, Prof. Why you say that? Yeah, it's common response. True. But we need to have a paradigm shift in a way that how can I improve it? Oh, you are squatting 200 pounds. Okay, how can I go to 250? I don't do that, so my friend did. Okay, so how can I do better? Oh, I should eat more. Increase the calorie intake. Maybe. How? Not why. How can I improve it? You being rejected? Okay, how? Unless the people who provided the criticism is not in a spot mood, as in they just providing their feedback just to degrade. That's a different story. Sometimes, yes, they just say bad things about it. They just say poor this, poor that. But okay, how to improve? That is something wrong with them. So now is for you to change to requesting review from someone else. It means that the person is not being honest. If you would like to provide constructive criticism, yeah, sure, but then you know what is the problem. If you say that this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, okay, so what is right? How to make it right? I don't know. That's not true. That's not academics. If you say something is right, if you receive something to be incorrect, how? If the person who provide the criticism don't have the idea how, there's something wrong somewhere with that person. So it is okay. Find someone else. Okay, have that mentality. How to improve. Okay, poor criticism is quite quite common. Okay, is it constructive and persuasive? Does not matter. It's how we respond to it. Okay, so from my own humble point of view, this is how we can find the countermeasures. This is my proposed countermeasures to minimize rejection on conceptual papers or other papers whatsoever. First is the mentality. Start with ourselves first, from the inside, our own personal mentality. Can we accept defeat? Can we accept failure? Yes, but we need to rise above it. Okay, we don't stay down. We get back up immediately. That is life. That is the truth in PhD research. If you just stay down, there's no point in it. The mentality, that's what matters. Okay? In accepting all of this predicament. The literature review technique, yeah, sure, we can have it today, later on. Okay? And the presentation, yes, it could be further simplified. For example, the use of diagram. Okay? It's number 4 as well. And the language, have someone else check it for you. Sure. Okay? Collaborate. Find other authors. Why you want to do everything yourself? I always have Dr. Gilman to conclude the paper. I write like, I draft it 3 times and Gilman edit. Sure. And be patient. It's a process. You cannot be rushed at times. Okay? That is my suggestions in overcoming rejection. So next will be our literature review technique. Okay? This is already covered in another webinar. But before we go further, any questions from the floor? Any questions? Nick, could you please check? Any questions whatsoever?
By far, no question.
All right, so let us proceed with the literature review technique. Because of this particular section of the webinar have been covered in chapter 2 webinar, some of you guys might have attended said webinar. So I do not wish to sound redundant, like a broken record. Okay, I do not wish to be redundant in terms of the presentation. Let us focus on the quality. Okay, so we will view it in a glance. Okay, unless you have question, sure, we can stop. But nonetheless, over here, let us have the interactive session. Why don't you stand by with your own respective papers, okay, where you can share, okay, and we can perform literature review just based on your respective current collection. Okay, but first, we need to know the technique. What are the technique in literature review? But first and foremost, we need to know the placement of chapter 2. Some might have seen this diagram already, but for the first time viewers, this is the description. Okay, chapter 2, okay, is the very foundation of your research. That is the ground. The groundwork for your research is your chapter 2. Chapter 1 is the structure of your research. Okay, the what. What are you going to do? That is chapter 1. Okay, why are you going to do it? That is chapter 1 as well. All right. Chapter 3 is how. How you want to do it. At the end of the day, regardless, okay, your respective literature review will be the foundation of your entire research. Okay, this is the most important aspect in any given academic research, the foundation. Without the foundation, your structure will definitely crumble. You don't even have to go there. Okay, and it can be seen from chapter 1. Okay, chapter 1 will give the impression and reflection of the other upcoming chapters. If your chapter 1 is poor, it will be an execution. Okay, so prepare your chapter 1 in a good way, and it is from the source. It is from chapter 2. Okay, so basically it's like this. Chapter 2 will be on the literature review. From the literature review, as we have discussed earlier, we shall attain conceptual framework. Conceptual framework will highlight on research gaps. These gaps provide the opportunity for exploration. Hence, we have the study. That is your chapter 1. Okay, so from your chapter 1, it will feed towards the research methodology as well. Why? Because your objective needs to be correlated. It needs to be linked to your chapter 3. Else, it is not joined. It is not, it is disjointed, basically. It has to be correlated. It has to be interlinked. Okay, so from your research methodology, you shall be attaining your respective result. This result shall feed back to your problem statement, and then your problem statement should be feedback to your research gaps. Now we have a full circle. Now your PhD, your master, especially PhD, is complete. This is the trick. Okay, this is how. So first and foremost, we need to have a good literature review. Okay, so the very basis of literature review is actually fixed. There are several requirements of literature review. Else, your literature review definitely will be inadequate. So what are the requirements? There are 4 requirements of a literature review. We need to perform comment, we need to compare, we need to contrast, and we need to critique. So what is in a glance? Okay, we won't go into detail because this is not chapter 2 webinar. I do not wish to do a chapter 2 webinar today because some of you guys might already attended those webinars. Okay, so comment is basic reporting. Hey, what does author do? What they did, that's it. That is comment. Okay, compare is to find at least 2 identical papers. Okay, apple to apple. Remember the Panikale example earlier? That is comparison. Okay, the earlier slide, the on-road, off-road Panikale, that is comparison. Why? Both are Panikale. Apple to apple. Okay, contrast is apple to orange. Same field. So I can take a Panigale and I can take the KLX, an off-road bike. So still a bike, but one is pure on-road, one is pure off-road. Apple to orange. Okay, that is critique. Finally, that is contrast. Finally, critique. Critique is indeed compulsory for PhD. This is the most critical. Without critique, your research review at the PhD level, confirm inadequate. Critique is to provide your own personal feedback, to provide your own point of view. You could agree, you could disagree. But at best, there is a disagreement because that is the gap. That is the need. The disagreement, either the way they perform the assessment or the scope of their research, definitely there will be some critique to be provided. Okay, oh, I don't agree, he used this parameter. Hey, why he used this parameter? That is critique. Hey, the way he performed the data collection is questionable. But don't say that in an academic manner. Means that when not just you, when we write in a literature review, we have it presented in an academic format. Okay, from the point of view of this study, this particular assessment is correct. However, then you say it why it is not correct. From your point of view, this particular assessment is accurate to the need of their respective scope. However, when the scope is focused on another area, the particular experiment is now being disjointed or questionable, up to you. Okay? Have it in a good mannerism. This is the advice from my professor, okay, Prof. Aro, UITM, Abdul Rahman Omar, okay. provide your feedback, provide your criticism, not in a harsh manner. Have it in a civilized manner. Okay, be academic. Okay, not as a good, in a good intention. Not want to degrade another paper, not to show hatred. This is bad. Don't say that. That is degrading. That is not academic. Academic is to find towards the truth, towards the knowledge. We do it because of the knowledge. Okay, so the criticism that we provide is towards the knowledge, not to degrade another person's study. A degrading feedback, you're not an academician from my point of view. You're just a guy or just a girl who just wanted to choose. Okay? Provide academic criticism. So here are some examples where you can study, where you can view. Okay? Provide some example. So here example of a commentary, just basic reporting. What the study found. Okay? You can go through this on your own, no problem. Okay? Commenting, just basic reporting on what the author found. Okay, that's it. To compare, more example, comparison. This particular method is being used by other studies. So these are the other studies. Comparison. Another example of comparison. Okay, similarly found that at the same time, simultaneously, something like that. Okay, so this is to showcase comparison. This is to showcase that, oh, all of these studies are agreeing with one another, right? Contrast. Contrast is to showcase some sort of disagreement, or there's some sort of disjointed, okay, between one or two studies with one reference studies, okay? So one study did it this way, but another study said that, oh, they might not be the best possible method to have it conducted. So that's contrast. But we need to make sure their studies are the same. So this is where we need greater amount of literature in order to produce a good literature review. So that is back to the question, how many papers do we need to perform or to publish a conceptual paper? It depends. It depends. We shall cover it later on once we at the end of the slide. Okay. So contrast again. Okay, contrast again. Okay. Another example. So critique. Okay. Last part will be critique to showcase disagreement in a good way. Here, example. However, it might be this and this and that. Okay, that is to showcase that their method is good, but these issues could rise. So we need to overcome it. So something like that, right? This is an example where from the critique, we can actually highlight on the research gaps. Okay, from the critique, oh, the thing is good, the thing is, however, there are some disadvantages, hence here are respective research gaps. Okay, so now we have come to the part where we can have some interactive session. Okay, let's talk about your studies now. Now, instead of just we talking about what I did before, this and that, okay? Let us have some interactive studies. But before that, perhaps, okay, let us go to how can we write first. Because before we go there, we need to know what are the essence, what are the foundation of conceptual paper. What are the things that we need to have in order to successfully write a conceptual paper? Okay. Okay, so these are the questions which we will address it together. But before that, this is the basic, okay, basic method in examining a scientific paper, because there are a number of feedback I've gotten from new students. How should I read a paper? Okay, how should I read a scientific journal or peer-reviewed article? Okay, how can I examine this particular paper? Mr. Nick, could you please check on the microphone? Okay. So how do we start? How do we initiate the process? So in my humble suggestion, this is how we do it. We shall start with the abstract, and then we refer back to the aim of your paper, of your study even. Okay, is it related? If it is related, then we shall proceed with the conclusion. Okay, we read the conclusion part. So the first thing that we do is to read the abstract, and then we shall proceed to examine the conclusion. Is it related? Okay, or is it not related? We found out, okay. If it is not related, we just go to the end. Okay, I should add another arrow there. If it is not, we go to the end. Okay, I need to add another arrow there. So I just notice now. Okay, if the conclusion is related to your respective study, we now proceed to the result and discussion. Okay, if it is related to the result and discussion, Mr. Nick, could you please check?
Excuse me. Yes, we have a participant here who's not muted for a while. I thought it was you, doctor. So yeah. Just a reminder, please keep your microphones muted for the rest of this talk, please, so that we will not disturb any of the lectures. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Nick. Okay, apparently it is yet to be there. It is yet to be sorted out. Could you check with the setting? All right. So, yeah, back to the story here. There's one more arrow needed at the related aim. If it is not, we just immediately stop examining. Okay. Only when the abstract, conclusion, and then the discussion is related, then only then we access the entire document. Okay. For as long as the items, which is the abstract, conclusion, and discussion, are not related, is there no way, Mr. Nick, that you can mute the mic? There is no other way.
Hang on. I don't think I can, but I'll contact Madam. Hang on. Sorry for the disturbance to the rest of the audience.
Yes, because apparently the person is busy typing. A very good speed nonetheless, but
Yes.
not in the middle of our discussion, perhaps.
Keyboard warrior, perhaps. Hang on.
It's still there. All right.
It is still there. Oh my lord.
Perhaps the organizer could help me sort it out.
Yes,
because,
I am contacting the organizer to mute the participant.
Yes, because they have the direct access to the session. Okay. So back to our story. We need to check. My advice, we check the abstract first. Okay. If the abstract is related to the aim of our respective paper or to our study, then we move on to the conclusion. If it is not, please add another arrow below. Okay, we just straight away go to the end. Okay, I was just focusing on the yes part in this diagram. Okay, please edit the diagram, put another arrow. If it is not related, we immediately go to the end. Means that we stop reading the paper. It is okay. We might want to visit it later, perhaps, sure. But if you are in a hurry, if you are working on to attain as much literature as possible, this is how we can do it. Check the abstract, then we move on to the conclusion, one step at a time. Once it is not related to your aim, not related to your PhD or for your master, we move on. Okay, find another paper. The process of collecting literature is time consuming. So we need to be fast. If you cannot find it, move on. Okay, it is okay. All right. So abstract, conclusion, if both are related, then and only then we go deeper. We check on the result and then we go through the discussion, because some of the papers could be 16, 18 plus pages. You do not want to read the entire paper and then at the end found out that this is not even related. You just wasted your time, you just wasted your energy. Not good. We have to be efficient. We have to work efficiently. Hence, this is the strategy and how to examine a scientific paper. Different individuals might have a different method. So the correction that needs to be made, which I'll be doing it later, if it is not related, we immediately go to the end. So we need 2 more arrows here below the conclusion and the discussion. Not related, immediately end. Not related, immediately end. Okay? So, in writing a conceptual paper, first and foremost, we need to ensure that we know the purpose. What is the aim of this particular conceptual paper? What are you trying to convey? And this aim needs to be the only driver for the paper. When the aim is clear, you can have the scope to be narrow, okay, and consistent for that matter, which is the point of view. Okay, the aim should be clear. We need to stick to the aim. So when we write the paper, yeah, we can review it in various directions and all, but we always return to the main aim of the paper itself. Okay, have it clear what you want to say. What is the key information that you wish to convey? That is the one thing and one thing only in mind. Hence, your point of view is consistent, and from there you can perform a fulfilling literature review and adequate at the same time. Okay, the literature review fundamental is indeed fulfilled, which was noted earlier, to comment, to contrast, to critique, and to compare. Okay, comment, compare, contrast, critique. Those are the fundamental of research review. Without those 4 items, it is not adequate. We need to provide that. It is warranted. This is what I've learned when I was an undergraduate. This is what was noted. I can't remember the lecturer's name, but I keep it in mind, seriously. Okay. Without these requirements being fulfilled, the literature review is not adequate. Okay. And the adequacy measurement is full circle to the aim of the paper. Is it enough to showcase? Is it enough to indicate what you would like to convey? So it is totally dependent on your respective paper, respective study. All right? It could be different from one student to another. True. Excuse me. Okay, so now let's review a paper. Since that we know, stop sharing. Okay, so let us check on what do you have. Okay, let's see your own respective paper in a way that let's do it together. Let us view your paper and have it reviewed. Anyone wish to share their studies or a paper from your own? Let's do it together right now. Sort of comment, sort of compare, and even critique that we can do live today. Oh, Mr. Nick, if you have any paper, you can. Sure. Okay, I want to take a drink a bit. Okay. While waiting, or you can even upload. Okay, you can even upload your title of your respective PhD. Then we can actually propose possible papers, possible conceptual papers, just based on your title. Yes, we can do that. All right, so I hand it over to you guys for the interactive session. Okay, before we close it. Okay, so let's have it for, I think, about 15 minutes or so. We can have it. All right, so I hand it over to you, Mr. Nick.
Thank you, Doctor, for the inspiring talk.
The slides are still there. There are a few conclusion part, but for the time
I
being,
see.
let us have an interactive session.
Of course.
There are a few more parts to conclude, but still for the time being, let us share with the fellow audience what can we do to
I
assist
see.
your respective studies. It's not over yet, but let's do interactive session.
To the audience, if you have any sort of questions or anything that you need to be sorted out for, you can leave your comments in the chat so that we can read it out to the doctor and he may help you. Or you could present your own papers just as he suggested just now. We could do that live so all of us can receive the same knowledge as a hive mind, perhaps. If you would, please do so. This is your time. So far, there are no questions in the chat box, Doctor.
Hmm.
But it's all right. We'll give them time.
Yes, the slide will be provided to everyone. Dr. Zuraimi, thank you very much. Yeah, the slide will be given. Not just this slide, even the other slides for other webinars. Sure, no problem. You can personally contact me later as well. Okay, because I have other webinar as well. And yeah, the slides are up for grabs. No charge. Okay, because this is sharing session and stuff. Okay. Yeah, sure. If you would like to pursue your PhD, the conceptual paper could be the very basis. Okay, this is the reason why I wish to pursue my PhD. Let's say you want to pursue, Miss Samia. Okay, so before you go and meet your potential supervisor, you can prepare some paper. You can prepare the conceptual paper and have it presented to your potential supervisor first. Okay, and of course, immediately, this creates a very good impression of yourself, okay, because of your initiatives. And most likely, yes, definitely it can fit towards your PhD. It's a very good idea, Ms. Samia. Okay, if I knew that, I would have done it as well. Okay, so perhaps new prospect students, you can prepare your review first because by default, okay, unless the lecturer has a grant, okay, the potential supervisor has a grant.
Excuse me, Doctor.
Yeah.
There is a question from Miss Samiha.
Yeah, I'm answering it right now.
Oh, you're sorting it. Sorry.
Okay. So, okay. So if usually if the supervisor or potential supervisor or lecturer, unless they have a grant ready, most likely they don't have a title, or if they do, okay, you can still propose your own titles. That's what happened to my previously for my master and PhD. Okay, master of it. But still, the point is, if you have an idea, okay, you would like to have it presented to potential supervisor, yeah, you can show it by means of preparing a short conceptual paper or just the conceptual framework. definitely it will look good on you. A good impression on yourself because it showcases initiatives. By default, any potential supervisor, if you meet them with something in hand, it means that you meet them by being ready. Definitely the feedback will be good because it showcases effort, it showcases initiatives. So Miss Samia, yes, indeed, it is highly recommended. We can use the conceptual paper as the very basis of your study. Okay. So hopefully that answers the question for you. The intention of Malaysian cocoa beans traders to participate in the indication, illustration to the less theory of plant behavior. All right. The intention of Malaysian cocoa bean traders to participate in geographical indication. All right. So first and foremost, from the title itself, okay, what can we do? Okay. The GI, geographical indication related studies. So you would like to do on cocoa beans, okay? What are the things aside from cocoa beans has been conducted earlier? Okay, because if you would like to perform GI studies on cocoa beans, we need to have a benchmark. Okay, how can you be sure that your study will be correct? First and foremost, okay, you would like to perform a study on cocoa beans traders participate in geographical indication. Why GI? First thing you can do, okay, what sort of studies related to GI you can, okay, since this is cocoa beans, I'm assuming food industry. So what sort of other studies within the food industry, F&B, which has been performed by using the GI, geographical indication. So you would like to do that. Okay, cheese. So you review this study. Okay, what they found from assessed GI studies from tea, cheese, and alcohol. Okay, hardly on GI in Malaysia. That is a research gap already. Your last sentence, hardly on GI in Malaysia, that is research gaps. Right there. It's not even hiding in plain sight. It is right there. Most definitely. Okay. Self-citation. Okay, self-citation. Okay, let's go one by one first. Okay, so in regards to the GI, okay, you review the tea, the cheese, the alcohol, or other agricultural product. So the cheese, the tea, that is under comparison. Food and beverages. Agricultural product, if it is not food items, you can have it under contrast. So you have a reference now. Okay. So the very basis, the scope of work will be on GI. Okay. So the GI could be food item or non-food item. Okay. So the food item, you can have it under the comment and compare tea versus cocoa beans. Food and food. Okay. If you can find cocoa bean and cocoa bean, even better. So tea and cocoa bean, you can have it both under compare and contrast. But if it is not food item, confirm it is a contrast. As long as it's within food item, yeah, it can be compare cocoa bean versus cocoa bean if there are any. If there are none cocoa bean at all, you can review the type of studies conducted by in regards to the tea, the cheese, and alcohol. Okay, so you can review those studies. What did they do? What did they find? Okay, what did they find? If they highlight on that, elaborate on that. So how can you implement their finding to your own or to feed to your own study? You can comment on that as well. Provide your own POV. Oh, so these guys did tea in England, essay. Okay, in that particular region, it might be feasible because in the UK, tea is like a common cuisine, okay, the novelty, the English tea perhaps, but maybe not in Malaysia. So not everything which has been conducted by that study could be adopted. We need to adapt if we would like to replicate similar studies. That is your comment. Provide your point of view. You read their paper, you study their assessment, and comment, compare with other studies. So tea versus tea, tea versus coffee, if coffee available, tea versus alcohol, because drink and drink. But different category of drinks. Okay, alcohol versus tea. That is under contrast. Still drink, still beverages, but different category, right? So yeah, you can go one by one from your title here. Okay, why cocoa beans? Cocoa beans. Why? What is the necessity from that? You can have it highlighted. You can showcase that in the chapter 2, okay, or in chapter 1, okay. Obviously, why cocoa beans? Why not other? Why GI that we want to do? So that's actually a lot. Okay, theory of planned behavior, confirm you can develop from theoretical framework. So the last sentence of the title, the lens of the theory of planned behavior. So you can develop theoretical framework as well. From the review, you can develop conceptual framework, and then from this theory of planned behavior, you can showcase the link between. So theoretical framework can be merged with the conceptual, or you can have it separated, totally dependent on your PhD, because there's more than one ways to do it. Confirm. Okay, hardly on GI in Malaysia, that is a confirmed research gap. Okay, show the numbers, show evidence. So that is that. Okay, can we write conceptual paper from discussion of theories from our own? Yeah, that is theoretical paper. Okay, discussion on theory, that is theoretical paper. But review on theory, the name of the paper is theoretical paper, but it's still a review. So the name is not conceptual paper. It is theoretical paper because we are reviewing theory. That's it. But it is still a review. So yes, we can. Okay. Self-citation is acceptable. Okay. So this is where you need to discuss with your supervisor and your university, because previously, when self-citation occurs or when you check for the Turnitin index, apparently it got high because, oh, my paper. Of course it is. So maybe you can have it noted. Okay, one way to do it. Maybe we can have it noted in the chapter 2 of our thesis. This particular section has been covered in a conceptual paper. Please refer the appendix. It is there. The matter, because we would like to avoid self-plagiarism. Because previously, yes, I get some points on the Turnitin just because of I citing my own paper. Happened, but it was accepted by the system because it was noted. Oh, self-plagiarism, not really, is the citing only. So yeah, sure, not an issue most of the time. One way to combat this situation is to have it noted in the literature review chapter. Please refer the appendix for the full paper in regards to the review. You can put the paper in the appendix. That's my suggestion. But please have it discussed with your supervisor and your coordinator as well, if it is possible to do so. Okay. But if you ask me, it's your work. Okay. You are not copying someone else. So it is valid. So discuss with the supervisor, can I have this presented in full conceptual paper, but then I just have it in the appendix because it's redundant work. Why should I do the same thing twice? Why should I paraphrase 5 pages one more time? It's a waste of time. Okay, find better way to present. That's my suggestion. hence discuss with the coordinator if it is possible, discuss with your supervisor. Because at the end of the day, during the Viva, if you say that, oh, I've presented in this one, yeah, the panel won't have any problem with it. Because it's your work, not someone else. So it is acceptable, if you ask me. Okay, it's a better way to present your thesis. It's not redundant. Doing redundant work is too much time, too much hassle. Okay. So anymore, we can work on it. Okay, and first you can share your sample paper. We can go through the abstract. How from the abstract we can provide comment. We can provide compare. What can we do? Okay. Why not from your own collection? If I show from my own collection, means that it is already there. Okay, because I want to show, to demonstrate that we can do it in situ. It doesn't take too much time once you know how to do it. So let's try. Share your collection of literature review, perhaps. Mr. Ismat, do you wish to share your paper? Maybe even your title, perhaps.
Actually, I'm on the way to continue my PhD. So not registered yet. So I will continue my PhD. So actually, there's a lot of question I want to ask. Actually, I want to know further regarding to how to make a good literature review and a good conceptual paper and then a good title for PhD.
Oh, all right.
Actually, if I ask, it's gonna take a long time, I think.
That's okay. A good title. Okay, a good title is very subjective, but usually, if it is related to grant, okay, if it's the new thing or the current thing, okay, let's talk about grant. Okay, let's say from my own point of view, if you would like to attain grant, it will be the current agenda of the government. Confirm, you can get it. If you are okay to study in that area, yeah, because previously back in 2012, 2013, KNAF is like the go-to study. Everyone be doing KNAF, so everyone be getting grant, which is good. So you have the funding. So what is the current agenda of the government at that moment? The sort of direction of the government, which is okay, which is nice. Okay, follow it. If you follow the current direction of the government, most likely it is easier to attain grant. But the issue, it may or may not to your personal preference. So a good PhD title, at least from my own perspective, in regards to doing it myself, will be in regards to my own personal preference. What is your preference, Mr. Ismat? What is your passion? If you are studying in regards to the thing that you love, you are not studying one bit, because previously I did on motorcycle. So throughout the journey, it was just me having fun. So what is your preference? What is your inclination, Mr. Ismat? Let's say.
Okay. I'm your question is just what I'm prefer the field of research. Okay. Okay. Right now I'm my field of research more to the Islamic study. I mean the Islamic psychology. So doing regarding the Islamic psychology. Actually, my back before this, I'm study Islamic business.
All right. Okay.
Right. And then right now it's moving to Islamic psychology, but I think it's okay still in the Islamic. They use Islamic theory and then but just like a new things that I need to learn.
Good, because we can use that. Why don't, my suggestion, why don't, since that you talk about Islamic psychological, what is it again? Psychological studies, isn't it? Islamic psychological studies
Yeah.
in business. from the point of view of the business venture, entrepreneurship. So you can actually combine to use your strength from your master in your PhD. It's just the point of view is different. So you have a background on Islamic business, good. Use that as the foundation. So you can have the literature from the Islamic business, but you have it within the lens of psychological, isn't it? Psychological studies. So how it is interconnected, how the psychological studies could be affecting the entrepreneurship or vice versa. You can do that. So use what you have learned, okay, to your advantage. You have knowledge on Islamic business. So now you can interpret Islamic business from the psychological aspect, perhaps on the implementation of the foundation of Rukun Iman, Rukun Islam, in regards to their action towards their business. Are they being truthful in their business? Maybe. As an entrepreneur, how it can affect them from their psychological to the way they do their respective business. So it can be viewed as well from the management. True. How they manage their business, if they how they manage their business from the point of view of psychological studies. It is possible as well. So instead of just changing your field of study, don't do, maybe not changing, but we are improving. We carry forward your skill from the master stage. Do not let it go to waste. Choose one and then view it from psychological studies. The Islamic business, munakahat, all those stuff, isn't it? There's a lot, isn't it? Choose one related to Islamic psychological studies. That's something that you could ponder upon, at least from my point of view.
Okay, good. Thank you, Dr. Izzat.
So
actually, Doctor, can I ask one question more? It's not apa? The question is regarding you have another session after this, maybe on the writing the thesis, how to write a good thesis session. Maybe you have.
Yes, I do. I can share you the slides now, because if you would like to have another session, because the one that I have will be proposal writing 1, a complete proposal writing, chapter 1 until chapter 8.
3.
Okay, chapter 1 until chapter 8 in full. That is one workshop. Okay, second workshop will be chapter 1 only in detail, in depth into chapter 1. Third one, in depth into chapter 2. And then this one, okay, and also graded on time and Viva. So there are 6. So the GOT is, I have the slides, okay, and the Viva as well. So those are the one that we have as of right now. I can give it to you, no problem, but we can have a seminar as well on that, or a webinar on that as well. So yeah, it is fun. Sure. Maybe this is your first time. Sure, I can already provided you with the ongoing slides. And if we do have the workshop later, the slides will be improved as well. So every session, the slide continuously be improved over time. So you are not attending the same webinar per se. Every time the session is made, it is improved. So sure, we can have that.
Yeah, maybe I can get your phone number after this.
Yeah.
Because I like your style, your teaching style. I'm very comfortable.
All right. So we have reached to that. So Mr. Ismat, about the phone number.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the end. Okay, I'll show you the details. Okay. So we are at the end of the workshop. So should be by now you have a good grasp on the conceptual paper writing. Okay, at least you have an idea. What is a conceptual paper? What are the requirements? What are the needs? Secondly, you knew the factors that could lead towards the failure and the success. focus on the success, but knows about the failure so that we can find ways around it. If you do fail, it's okay. Okay, if it's do be rejected, it's all right. Okay, do not be disheartened. Push forward. Okay, as a new student, hopefully by now you are able to initiate the early steps. You know what to do. You know how to look. You know how to read another people. Okay, because yeah, that's an issue. How to read somebody else's work and understand it. It takes time to develop that skill. It's okay. Okay, and most importantly, at best, you would become a better academician and researcher than myself. That is my goal. Okay, because that is education. That is the whole purpose of academics, to become better than your predecessor, than the lecturers. That is the goal. Else, the society will go backwards. So we need to move forward. You need to become better than I am. That is the whole purpose. Okay. So indeed, we have successfully attained the learning objectives. We managed to simplify the concept of conceptual. Why is redundant? Okay, we can simplify the understanding on conceptual papers. We have the capacity to improve on the understanding of literature review. And yes, we have some mini demonstration, okay, and possible conceptual papers. So the cocoa bean study, my study on cocoa bean, there's none, confirm research gap. No GI in Malaysia, confirm research gap. That is a conceptual framework. Showcase that there's none, showcase that there's none. What we have is this, and this. So what's the need? So that's one more thing. If there is none of this study, why it is not being conducted? So that is the question that you can answer and seek the answer for it. Why it has never been conducted before? Is it? I don't know. That's your field. You should tell me. Okay. So such as that. All right. So be relentless. The journey for your PhD, of course, it will be filled with obstacles. Of course, it will be filled by challenges. So we need to face these challenges. Don't run away. You get rejected in publication. It's okay. You got rejected in your scholarship. It is okay. There are other ways. God is there. Believe in yourself. And if you're already continuing or you are already pursuing your PhD, finish what you have started. Do not let it be just a dream. Achieve it. So thank you for myself. These are my respective contact details. Feel free to just WhatsApp me. Okay. Do WhatsApp, don't send email. Much better response, much faster response. So just hopefully I can get my Panengali within this year or next year. So I can teach my bike. Basically that. So thank you very much. Feel free to ask any question. We still have 7 minutes left. Okay. This slide will be provided to the organizer, or you can text me to attend it, as well as the other slides. All right. So thank you very much for myself. Back to you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, Dr. Muhammad Izzat, for the informative and educational information. But before we truly finish off the final workshop for today, if you have some end games questions, you may give them now before we end it. Or if you don't want to ask it now, you can ask the doctor later.
Send me a text.
Number, text him through WhatsApp. As he said, it's faster, and it is faster actually, and more reliable. And on behalf of the organizer, I would like to thank all the participants for joining us throughout all of our journey in the past 9 workshops. And also, e-certificates will be provided via email to all participants, and training hours will be registered for all UITM staff. To those who were asking of a recording or the slides of this webinar, we will be providing both to you via email, but you must first fill up the Google form that we had given in the chat box. Do we have any more final questions? No? If no, I would assume all of you would contact the doctor later. We still have 5 more
Hi,
minutes.
Doctor.
Ah,
Actually, I do have a question because when it comes to literature review, especially when we come to the part of critique, sometimes I do see some journals where when it comes to that critique part, some of them they straight away give their personal opinion about it. But sometimes certain people may feel that when we give our personal opinion, like we say there's a lack of studies in this, should we actually support it with a citation still, or those are our personal opinion?
Why
Or
not? Why not both? That's it. Why not both? Sometimes
mm,
let's not overthink stuff, because if you do have an opinion, and yes, we can have it provided, but if the opinion is being supported by another people, even better. So yeah, you can do it both. You can provide your own take on the matter. You can also, hey, this guy said it as well. Something like that. Yes, you can have it that way. All right. So both ways are indeed correct. The issue is, if it is just our opinion, so it's questionable. But if it is being supported by another studies, okay, even merrier. That's even better. So for my recommendation, I go for both at best.
but doctor, if we are unable to find a study to support what is our opinion, is it still quite unsafe to go through that matter?
I still okay because uh of course we don't say why don't you go ahead and find it yourself. Let's not do that. But yes, from my own investigation, systematically, we can elaborate on how we seek, for example, using search keys or keywords. These keywords does not result in any, unless you would like to screenshot your screen and show, okay, even that could be justification in a way. But yes, from the conceptual paper point of view, if we say that it is inadequately documented or there is lacking in this area, that's the reason why we are mentioning in the first place, because there's none. So that is a conceptual paper. So if we can showcase the evidence of, let's say, some figures and data on the other areas which were studied, sure, even that should be sufficient.
Thank you, doctor.
All right.
are there any more questions from the audience before we truly end the workshop for today? I would assume no. And thus, we should go to the closure. Before we move on to the closure, the organizer would like to invite all of the participants to turn on their cameras for a small photo session. Doctor, if you could stop your slideshows, we want to take some pictures.
All right.
If we could have a bit more people turning on their camera, that would be most appreciated. All right, for those who are turning on their cameras, please look at the camera, smile, a big smile, and we will take our pictures in 3, 2, 1, smile. And another one, we shall take it. 3, 2, 1, smile. All right. Thank you for all of your participation throughout our all 9 workshops. Thank you to Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Izzat for this insightful and detailed explanation. And thank you so much to all the participants who have stayed until the end of the session. We, as the organizer, hope this session has helped everyone to have a better understanding on today's topic. That is all we have time for today's workshop. Once again, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our speaker. 1,000 thanks to the myth legend, Dr. Muhammad Izzat himself, for being here with us throughout our previous workshops and for sharing his knowledge and wisdom with us. I would also like to thank all the participants to participate in this workshop. All of your participation are greatly appreciated. We hope everything we have obtained from these workshops are useful and beneficial to our life, and inshallah we will all find a better use for our skills today for a better future. Thank you so much for joining and have a good day.